let's go ahead and start visualizing the OSI model, the datagrams that have been sent. So let's go to our ID. We've made some available and some unavailable, and we've seen that. All right, so let's go ahead and check. Let's start with logs. Let's see the application logs for the location content filtering. So you can actually see that it has captured your IP address and is doing some work. And that's because we wrote a filter to do that. So when you go to the locations package, we have the country location filter. This filter is what is actually causing that automatic detection or that filtering of content or resources for you. So this is the class that we code films engineers did over here. And then that would have filter service access by service type or filter service access by country code. So so this is the logic or this is the object of class that does that. So that's it. So there are logs inside. So now let's just check those logs. So we'll go to Heroku. Let's do Heroku login for our terminal. Yeah. So we want to check the logs. That's what we want to do. We can actually check the logs from here. So let's just do Heroku logs and tail it. But this view here is too small. So let's actually do pwd. Let's go to, so it's at Samuel uses um, Victor's workspace. So let's use another terminal for that. So pwd then Victor's. Then we are in the workspace. Once we're in the workspace, we just search for the project location. All right. So now let's go ahead and do the Heroku logs table from here. I just hope we don't have to log in. All right. Fantastic. So let's rename this tab and we'll call it our LSCG bouncy monitoring. I'll just say LSCG logs to put it here. So now let's go ahead and send another request and we'll look at the logs and see if we can capture our IP address. So we have our, let's go to our client. Let's hit again. So it's writing the logs. So now let's go to library cast. Let's go to the world that is blocked. The world that is blocked is sportscast, I believe. It's unavailable. So it says unavailable. So with this in mind, now let's look for the logs for that. The best is to use the IP address because that's how we know that we've captured it. So we'll go to IP config, do all, then we will search for IP address of 192.168.0.197 because that's the that's the IP address of the coming from the medium of Wi-Fi or the physical connectivity that is giving us that uh, privilege of accessing the internet is the Wi-Fi. So this 192.168.0.197, that's from our router. So we'll go ahead and search for this IP address. All right, so can first you could say with Control F. That's just to make your life easier. Well, it becomes a little bit challenging to do that. So we'll just do this. Instead of telling it, we'll search for it. I hope I can just do a grab. So IP address. So we'll go with this approach. It will take a while. It didn't find anything. Okay, so let's do this now. I don't think grep is allowed here. Yeah, grep is not allowed. Okay, let's try and do it with fine stream unavailable. Given be that the Heroku has a way of searching the logs, we have a way of searching with the logs. There are commands to it. So let's go ahead and use it. Let's go. Let's access it normally. Let's do it. Let's do this way. The printout here. Yeah, because even it's lost. It's so let's tell it again. And let's take our time and we'll locate it this time around. Seems a lot has changed. I'm using Windows 11. Windows 11. Let's go back and hit the request again. Alright, so let's actually scroll down. Scroll up. Which is not the best, but we manage. Right, so this is the IP lookup response. So this is actually the API that has access to all IP addresses that have been given to internet service providers. So we've queried through that API and it's giving us a response. The response here is actually telling you a lot about the IP address that came through the filter. It tells you the continent and even the organization is Sancom Limited. That's the internet service provider, as we've explained. So we're actually capturing it in the log. So this is how it knows. So it goes ahead and says the source IP country is Ghana. And then the country code receives is changed. And it's all coming from the response of the API that we are using. To make it even more, to appreciate it better, let's do this with Heroku Logs on the web, not via the terminal. Because this one makes it look as if you're not seeing anything. So we'll log in. So I didn't want to log in. We'll log into the web portal. We'll actually continue from there. Then later, we also look at IP, the IP query database, the API that helps us to do that. Then we'll close it with um, checking the packet with Wireshark, for you to actually see the datagrams. So go ahead and enter our code forms and I still hope I don't forget my password. Give me a second. Let me just reset it and I'll be back. All right, so login is fine. So we'll just go ahead and we've been able to do it. We've been able to log in successfully. The login is working. I've changed the password and we just go straight to heroku.com. So I will go and view the logs in the web portal. So this is our application. Then we go to more, view logs. Right, so we'll send a request to it and we wait to take it. So we'll send a request to the gateway. Let's keep this here too. So many screens for monitoring and observation. So we have this now. Let's hit the request. Sportscast is blocked. It's unavailable, which we do know. Right, so our logs capture, we capture it on our logs. Then we can actually save this as a file, text file. Then let's open the text file and just search with the IP address. let's open the file. Let's open a Notepad plus plus. It's much more better. Dollars. Yeah, I'll explain something. Like, oh, Notepad plus plus. Okay, I'll explain something. I'll explain something. All right, so these are logs. So remember we did this. We queried with this IP address. We tried building a query with the IP address of the yes with this IP address. It skipped me. This IP address is a private IP address. It's not on the public internet, so you can't use a private IP address to get information. So the router will give you a public IP, and that public IP is what will do the routing for you. So you actually have to find the public IP address. So the public IP address, you can query it online. You can just do that online. So you go to Google, you can just type what's my IP. It just came in by remembrance. So, so these are my public IP. So let's go ahead and search with this further. So let's search the file that the IP address. That's good. So fantastic public IP. So this is it. So let's just do more queries. So good. So it says that the remote address or destination IP is this is the destination IP or remote address, which is 15161. So it did a query with this, then it found our IP address to be the that of my router. So this is the IP address we are looking for. So this is the destination IP address, and this is the source IP address. Later on, I'll explain something also in the code field with regards to the local address. So what's important is that this is the destination. Um, and the reason is that my application is the gateway. So I want to hit my application. So it picks my IP address that goes into the application. And when it picks I'm the destination. So it's like you're hitting maybe WhatsApp or you're hitting Facebook. And Facebook implements that. I've going when my IP address when I leave from I'm the source, so we have the source and the destination. So if the IP goes to the Facebook server, it picks that IP address I sent and you use that to do a query. So that's how it's working. So it's based on that principle that if the request comes, I take this as the remote address, then I use that to query for it. I'm not going to use the local address or the source IP. I'll use the remote address to do that. Yeah. So is that straightforward? Is that simple? If you use the local address, you won't find anything. It won't work for you. It won't work for you. So, but it's also this one is actually coming from. This one has to come from Heroku. Yeah, it can't come from because I'm not sending this. What I'm sending is this. So that's the work behind it. So with this IP address, it does a query with the API, then it returns my details in regards to my internet service provider and other details. Yeah, so let's now look at the API that is doing that. So this is the API. So look at the local and IP address with Wireshark. So if you are still lost, you just hold on. We'll go to the property file. Yeah, the local property file. So the IP there. API are using to query that the RII database for our particular continent is this ipwho.is. It's a API that can give you information about an IP address. So you just go online and visit them. So IP is alright, not this one. There's one particular one that I'm using. Not this one too. IP voice. Yeah, students IP voice. Oh, where's mine? Okay, let's go. Let's use this. Right, so this is the API. I want the interface, the graphical user interface. I'm just struggling to find which particular. Let's I do that with my. Let's use my Google client to do that. That one will help you to know which one I recently used. So many people yeah. Oh, hold on. Let's see. No message. Check this. It has to show there's a website. They have a nice graphical user interface. By let's just do it again. So IP who is API. Good. So I think when I add API it makes it better. So yeah, this is what I'm searching for. So it's whois.io. So whois.io. So this is where when you put your IP address, it tells you everything. So this is the a better presentation. It's more graphical. So if you go ahead, it tells you about the ISP, which you've explained, and it goes on and where it's coming from. The ID is Africa, the time zone is Africa, Accra, and then the internet service provider and ASN. I'm going to the ASN, but it has to do with some numbering system for the IP address. But basically, this is it. So this is how it's doing its work. So as we explained, it's the database. It's a database of all um, like IP addresses that have been allocated for the use of connecting to the internet. So you can go ahead and play with it and have fun with it. So it goes, so that's it. So it says city is Accra. I'm not really operating from Accra, no. But I explained that it's because of the internet service provider I'm connected to. So if you go ahead and even look for the graphical way, you see who is IP. Those the ones with the graphical representation. You can actually show you a map of that thing. Let's use this one. What's my IP with a map on it? Yeah, so this is the map. It tells you that it's operating from Accra. So it just tells you the internet service provider is these people in Accra. So I've explained this already. That's because of the internet service provider. All right. So just the understanding. So we've understood all this. Now uh, let's actually look into the packet and see the IP address and understand the source and destination properly, and also the let's see that let's actually now see the OSI model, the data ground that you've mentioned. So to do that, we'll do some changes first. So let's do this now. Let's make it still path boundary. We change it to path boundary and we make luxury cars blocked and we make sports cars available now. And when we do that, we will change it from we make it now path boundary. So it's path boundary, so it's no longer country. All right, so that's fine. Let's go ahead and clear git add git commit. And say update the path boundary um, statuses. Push it. Whilst we are getting ready to test this, let's open our tool that we use to now expose or visualize the OSI model datagram, and that's Wireshark. So we are going to now use Wireshark to do that. So Wireshark is more of a packet analyzer or network traffic analyzer. Sorry, I have to run it as an administrator. So this will never leave my screen. So let me close it and run it as administrator. Right, so sorry. Let's run it as administrator. Also some of the libraries we are using. So run as administrator. All right. Okay, so with the Wireshark, this is not a Wireshark tutorial class. So Wireshark on our TCP IP model, where is the traffic? The traffic is on the physical layer. Which physical layer device are we using to connect to the internet? It is Wi-Fi. So we'll sniff traffic from the Wi-Fi. All right. So we say that capture packets which are going to the host LCFG. So this syntax we are entering is also coming from, or this command we are entering is coming from the understanding of TCP dump. That TCP dump helps us to view packet with the command, or is a tool to view packet with the command. So that's what we are doing. So copy the URL here. So go and filter uh, filter packets that are going to this host. So use the host option to do that. And the syntax for that is a library. So you have to check the library to know what you're doing. Or you can check the code forms that we did for just basic understanding or appreciation of the TCP dump. I'll drop the link to that too in the comment in the description section. But the video should show as of now. So host, what we're doing is that on this Wi-Fi physical layer or the physical medium in quote, if you see traffic that is going to the host LCFG, inform us. In terms of how do you know that this is the host? It's all in the datagram. I've explained that when you start connecting to the internet, your browser is able to capture all this and send it to the servers. And in doing that, it's all adding information to the datagram. Ones and zeros are all being added and they are being sent to those respective ISPs to give you access. So it's you can actually track all this. And then a good example is let's look at your browser. Let's look at the browser. Let's go to this one that I'm using. So let's go here and let's right click. Okay, I think we've done some deployment right. So let's look at this rather. Let's do inspect. Go to networks and hit it again. Good. So when you hit this 200, I want the 200. Oh no, I didn't want to. Good. All this information, look at the headers that are being sent. These are the headers that are being sent. So these headers have some information that you can use to do your perform some actions. So all this information, especially look at the user agent, the browser, it has been able to determine the user agent. And the host has also been captured. So that's how it will know. So it's possible. I'm just letting you know that it's possible. So these are the request headers and these are the response headers. So it's all captured in the headers. Nothing is actually hidden. So that's why I'm stressing that if you want to really be safe online, go with Tor browser because Tor says that it will find a way of scrambling your information so that you don't even know traces at all. Your ISP will not be able to capture it. Just imagine if your ISP is capturing all this as logs. I'm doing it for my gateway. That's my Nginx server gateway. And I'll show you that too. Once I hit a request, I capture all the headers I need and I print it to a file. So what if they are printing all this to uh, a database on in your case with your IP address and all your details? How would you feel? You get it. So this one, the remote address is 54, which is Heroku because my client is there. I'm the source and I'm going to this IP address. All right, so that's why it's a remote address. But when you come to my remote and I pick your IP address, it becomes the destination. So we explain that one too with the Wireshark. So this is actually from Heroku. So if you still that, you just need to use your NS lookup. So terminal. I didn't plan to make this video very long, but there are a lot of technical things happening all at once. So that's why I'm taking time to explain what went on into doing this step by step. So you just do NS lookup. So this is the use of the network 412 length. And we do paste up there. Yeah, the domain name. Then we just try and see the resolution behind it. Yeah, so you realize that this is 54. It's one of the IP addresses here. 54.20.186.182, then on port 4443, which is the HTTPS port. So you've seen it for yourself. So you know that we were the source and we are going to the destination, which is Heroku. When we just go ahead and actually hit the request also, then we know that there's a destination. So we are going here and it does that for us. All right, so the talk is coming plenty. So let's go ahead now and view the packets. So let's filter, and you see the packet that are going. Wireshark. For this, you've seen the headers. This just for you to know that this is being time spring. It's all captured, so you know how the host is now going. It's part of the headers. So let's go to Wireshark now. Let's filter. So just filter this on this medium. So click start. Right, so right now it's silent. It's silent because it hasn't sent any packet, which is important because I haven't yet sent ones files and ones and zeros downstream to the physical layer for the physical layer to send it all the way back up. It's not that hasn't yet been done. So there's silent. The wire is silent because there's no to and fro happening here. Once the to and fro happens, you see that it's no longer silent. So if I'm on the application, I start hitting the request, the client send the request and the server is sending a response. Realize that it's going to send some datagrams and capture some packet, right? And traffic for you. So let's go ahead now and hit the gateway. So if I hit, um, okay, it's once I just hit, that's already started capturing for us. Alright, so you just capture it again. So let's stop. Let's clear. Let's continue without saving. Alright, so we are here. And let's refresh it. Alright, so you realize that it captures our packet. So the network was silent, but when we hit the request, the client sent a request, which is Usman. Sorry, which is the Edge browser and the server is giving you a response. So this is the response you are seeing. So with this, you can actually see that some packets are going to and fro, to and fro, to and fro, to and fro. So that's it for the TCP IP model, understanding the packets and everything. So you can actually see the packet. Now you take your time. It comes to frame, it comes to Ethernet, it comes to network layer, and it comes to the ports. So you actually see everything happening. There's no ambiguity. So even if you start launching now to the worlds, so let's go to the worlds. Let's see the worlds. So if you start launching to the worlds right now too, yeah, so this is where we start having the IP address whereby we are taking your the the IP address of the router that is coming, the public IP addresses. We convert it and check with the API, then not convert, but we translate it or we send it to the API, then we get a response. So you actually see everything in your packets now. So it says 34, and 34 is one of the source IPs for it's one of the IP addresses from Heroku, right? So it's actually happening. It's actually happening. So these are all for you to just appreciate. So this is the source, this is the destination. This is the source, this is the destination. And if you want to see the data that's attached to it, so you can also see the data that's attached to it. Yeah. But because we are going through HTTPS, that's why we can't see the data, but it has been encrypted. But it was on HTTP, that's the if we had HTTP, the gateway is on HTTPS. If the server was on sorry, if the Heroku was on HTTP, you definitely see that you'll be able to sniff the packet out, but it's encrypted, but you can decrypt it. That is not the purpose of this code film. So just for you to know that it's going to and through. All right, so that's it for this code film. So we've understood the flow and everything that is happening all at once. It's all happening at once. It's not segregated. Everything's happening at once. So it's not as if this is not happening or that's not working. It's all happening at the same time. Yeah, so now let's look at the Nginx logs to also see the time sprint that we took. So Nginx logs to check out and we see that it's also capturing the headers that we've talked about. So go to documents. So we go to where we have our uh, go to Nginx. Go to the logs. Custom server logs, yeah. Yeah, so let's hit a request now. And remember, we did some changes, and the changes we made was that we made luxury cards available. We made luxury cards available, if I'm right. Let's check and see which ones we made available. So we test and see if our configuration worked. We made luxury cards blocked, but we made sports cards available, so which is good. So when we come to luxury cards, it's supposed to be blocked, which is working. But when we go to sports cards, it's supposed to be available, which at first was unavailable. And we can enter site. This one we can do away with it, but it's complaining of internal server error. That's to build the code, but it's let's see. Probably it's a small issue. Let's see if we can fix it. Sportscast is available. In Sportscast, every microservice app, you have to check that. So let's go to console. Let's see if this Sportscast is up. It has to be from our filter class. So let's go to this is by service type. And we made it available. We made it available. Yeah. So what's the issue? We have to check the logs. Is there any white space that we are passing? So every cast, first cast will not available. Let's check the logs. Let's just look at the logs. Let's see what the issue is. Then we deploy it, then we call it and enter the code field. Hmm. Okay, I don't think it will come from the code. I think the tunnel is down, but let's be sure. I think the tunnel is down. That's the public URL is down. So, but let's check. Let's still check. So let's send another request. Let's send another request. Keep this one here. Let's send another request. Sports cars. So it says available. It goes available. But it's giving us an error. Oh, it's okay. It's up now. Oh, so that means it was. I'm sure it was the tunnel. As we said, the tunnel maybe was a network glitch. It's because it's working now. So that's fantastic. So sometimes you have to just be patient. Check, be sure. All right, so you can see that it's working. There was no issue from our code. It's you're just looking at the logs, everything's working. So I'm sure it was the tunnel that was misbehaving one way or another. Yeah, so basically that's it for this code film. So we've looked at everything, we've understood what's going on, and we've appreciated that we can actually trace our IP address, find our IP address. So the row work is the filter class that we built. So that's where the work is at. So this the object that helps you to actually uh, query IP address. So it's this filter that is doing all the magic for us. So we get the remote IP address from here. We get the local IP address. So the remote IP address here is the IP address that is coming to the server. That's the remote IP address. And I label it as destination IP address. So I'm sure if you saw it, probably be confused, but the remote is what is coming into the code, and then the local is um, the one that initiated. So it's a little bit confusing, but that's how it works. That's how it works. You have to probably read the functions here to understand, especially the class that it's coming from, to understand what it does. So basically that's it. So it's working and everything works fine. So that's it for this code film. If you still have questions or still trying to figure out how I was able to capture the IP address, just surface display that when it comes to the filter class, there's an object, so exchange objects. I log the headers. You've seen the headers. Let's look at the headers again. So the headers are captured here. So, so these are the incoming request headers. All this. This is the incoming request. We explain that all this is being captured from the browser because we saw it in the browser. So this is the incoming request that is coming. So let's copy this and paste it here. Yeah, so and this for nudges. This for nudges. So even if I hit again, you realize that I'll get my nudges logs here. Next time I reload this, it will print new ones for me. So this one was at 124. Now 213. So let's close this and open it again. Current time should be around 124. So this is 6 times 3 to 10. So 213. So yeah, so now it's now 213. So it's correct. So just 3 minutes ago. So we understand that we are capturing. So with even with my largest server, I can capture the client where it's coming from. I capture the proxy IP where it's coming from. And I capture uh, some one or two details. So I'm able to capture the remote. This is the remote IP address. I've captured it, not the local. Right. So okay with that. So we are looking at the packet that we are receiving. Yeah. And this is the tunnel issue. When the tunnel has an issue, it tells you the tunnel has an issue. Probably the time we've exceeded the time that is supposed to be available. Yeah. So these are the headers. Copy the headers. And we paste it here. Let's from the part. Let's put it there. And so with these headers, yeah, it gives you almost every information that you need with regards to whatever you want to do. So request ID. I'm sending now. I'm sending a request ID and then some other headers that are being sent. Yeah, and after printing the headers in the class, we print out the IP address too as well too. So with the exchange, we get the addresses. We get the local address and we get the remote address. And we also saw that in the logs here. So this is the public URL, public IP address, remote, and then we also have the local address. Yep. So we don't use the local address, we use the remote address so that if you query this, I think this is okay, this is a public URL, public IP. If you query this, it will give you the internet, the details with regards to it, provided it's a public IP address. So the IP is no, IP is with I, yeah. So there's not a private IP, it's a public IP address. So it says success was false, not query anything. Yeah, but if we looked at the ranges, so if it's within that range, it shouldn't be a problem because we've already studied about public and private. So this is okay, so it's a private, so it's 172.172.31. So it's a private IP address, so it's not a public IP address. So that helps you to understand that we are not using the IP address. So it's a private IP address that is in use. So it's not accessible. So it's a remote that we are using. So we pick the remote address from the exchange object. In the exchange object, we're able to find our IP's location. So that's it for this code film. So it's a bit lengthy, but I think it's the best so that we appreciate everything that is going on in regards to location content filtering. So the next time you see such a thing on Netflix, you know that this is how it works, and you can also do something about it with regards to your own personal implementation. Now that you've seen the TCP IP packets that are moving to and fro. All right. So that'll be for this call film, and I'll see you in another call film. Bye.